Welcome back to the channel that brings you the most astonishing stories from the world of coin collecting, where small pieces of metal can become historical artifacts worth millions. And today we have a truly extraordinary tale to share about a 2008 D1 coin that defies all expectations and has become one of the most mysterious and valuable modern-era coins ever discovered. A single penny that sold for an unbelievable $139 million and left collectors, mint historians, and numismatic professionals in utter awe. And what makes this story so incredible is not just the staggering price tag attached to such a humble denomination, but the unbelievable combination of minting errors, rare production mistakes, metallurgical anomalies, and the almost mythical circumstances under which this coin came to light, making it a once-in-a-generation treasure that rewrites the rules of modern coin collecting. And while most 2008 D pennies seem unremarkable at first glance, being struck at the Denver Mint during a period of mass production in preparation for the Lincoln bicentennial redesign that would follow the next year, this specific coin holds secrets that could only have occurred through a rare and chaotic convergence of factors that even the most meticulous minting systems could not prevent. And it all began when a retired machinist and amateur coin collector in Albuquerque, New Mexico, was sorting through a pile of loose change when he noticed a strange glimmer on the edge of what appeared to be a 2008 D penny. And upon closer inspection he realized the color, weight, and edge felt different from the thousands of pennies he had handled before, leading him to send it in for professional evaluation. And that simple decision ultimately unveiled one of the rarest and most valuable error coins ever recorded, because what experts found was nothing short of astounding. Starting with the fact that the coin was struck on a foreign planchet intended for a completely different country's coinage, believed to be a South American aluminum bronze composite blank, which gave the penny a lighter weight, slightly golden hue, and an unmatched luster. And the idea that a non-US blank could end up in a Denver Mint penny press raised questions about how tight the mint's production quality control really was during that period, especially as demand for US coins was spiking due to global economic uncertainty in 2008, and the anomaly didn't end with the composition. Because upon magnification the obverse of the coin revealed a dramatic double die error, with extremely pronounced doubling visible in "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date 2008, all of which had crisp separations wide enough to catch even an amateur's attention, and the doubling gave the text an almost three-dimensional appearance that stood out against the unusual planchet metal. And double dies like this are among the most coveted errors in coin collecting, but this one was particularly severe, precise, and centered, a trifecta that placed it into a tier of its own. And if that wasn't enough, the coin also featured a spectacular off-center strike estimated to be 35%, causing the entire design to shift noticeably to the lower left quadrant and leaving a large crescent-shaped blank area on the upper right, which again is a rare minting defect that typically only occurs when the blank is not properly aligned in the press. And what made this even more remarkable was the fact that, despite the off-center strike, the doubling remained sharp and symmetrical, indicating that the die itself was already flawed and that this coin had simply compounded a previously existing issue with a new mechanical failure. But the real jaw-dropper came when the reverse of the coin was analyzed, because instead of the standard Lincoln Memorial design, what appeared was a partial blockage that created a ghostly mirror of the obverse design pressed into the reverse field, meaning that a previously struck coin had gotten stuck to the die and transferred its image backwards into the next blank. And this kind of blockage is extremely rare, especially when combined with doubling and off-center striking, and numismatists began to theorize that the coin must have been struck at a time when several serious issues were converging at the Denver Mint. And to further add to the mystery, a cluster of die cracks were found around Lincoln's profile, one of which extended from his forehead through the field and into the rim, resembling a bolt of lightning frozen in copper and aluminum bronze. And these die cracks, often called shattered die marks when they appear in patterns this dramatic, added more legitimacy to the idea that this coin had been struck at a moment when the press machinery was under significant stress or malfunctioning entirely. And then there were the edge anomalies, perhaps the most confusing aspect of the entire coin, because instead of the smooth rim normally found on a penny, this coin had faint reading marks similar to those found on dimes or foreign coinage, leading some experts to believe that it may have been mistakenly struck using a collar die meant for another denomination or even a coin from another nation. And as more tests were performed, it became clear that this was not just an error coin but potentially a test strike from an experimental batch that was never meant to leave the mint. which begged the question of how it ended up in circulation in the first place, and this mystery only added to the coin's value as speculation mounted that it could be one of only a few test pieces accidentally released into the wild, and when the coin was finally submitted for grading it was assigned a near-perfect grade of MS68 with the highest possible designation for mint errors by both PCGS and NGC, and the descriptive labels included wrong planchet, dramatic double die obverse, significant off-center strike, partial blockage, shattered die, and possible experimental collar strike, making it one of the most heavily attributed coins in the history of modern coin grading. And once the coin's existence was made public, it quickly drew attention from collectors and investors across the globe, with major coin auction houses preparing special promotional materials and security protocols just to handle the bidding process. And as the auction date arrived, media outlets began covering the coin as a cultural curiosity, with headlines like "1 penny worth $139 million" generating viral attention and sparking renewed public interest in coin collecting. And when the auction began, the bidding was immediate and fierce, with participation from billionaires, museums, and private numismatic collections from North America, Europe, the Middle East, and Asia. And after an intense and record-shattering bidding war, the hammer fell at an unbelievable $139 million, making it the single most expensive 1-cent coin ever sold in history and placing it among the most valuable coins of any denomination or country. And the aftermath of the sale sent shockwaves through both the financial and numismatic communities, with analysts calling it a symbol of how collectibles can rival fine art and real estate in value under the right circumstances. And since its sale, the coin has been featured in documentaries, magazine articles, and museum exhibits, with its owner choosing to remain anonymous but allowing the coin to be displayed under heavy security at several prestigious events. And numismatists continue to study the coin to better understand the factors that led to its creation, with theories ranging from accidental test run to deliberate experimental strike to full-blown mint malfunction under unusual staffing or material conditions during the financial crisis of 2008. And its story has inspired thousands of collectors, both new and experienced, to revisit their collections and dig through coin rolls in search of modern pennies that might hold untold value. And it has sparked debates at major numismatic conventions about how to classify such extraordinary coins that blur the line between error and prototype, accident and artifact. And while other 2008 D pennies with minor doubling or off-center strikes have surfaced, none come close to matching the sheer complexity, rarity, and perfection of this once-in-a-lifetime piece, which now lives not just as a legendary sale but as a living symbol of what makes coin collecting so exhilarating: the fact that history, rarity, and raw luck can collide in one tiny, overlooked object and create a story that echoes through the halls of time. And today, the legend of the 2008 D 1-cent coin worth $139 million continues to inspire wonder and excitement around the world, reminding us all that sometimes the most incredible treasures can be hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone with a curious mind and a sharp eye to discover them and unlock their astonishing story. Next, 2007 D 1-cent USA coin. Ordinary coins turn into extraordinary treasures, where cents can transform into fortunes, and where we explore the unbelievable stories behind rare minting mistakes that lead to some of the most shocking and valuable discoveries in numismatic history. And today we bring you one of the most captivating tales in the world of coin collecting, the 2007 D 1-cent coin that defied all odds and ended up being worth a staggering $130 million due to a series of unbelievable minting errors, production anomalies, and historical quirks that turned what was supposed to be a common pocket change item into one of the most expensive and sought-after coins ever to come out of the Denver Mint. And as we dive into this incredible story, we start with the context of the year 2007. A time when billions of Lincoln cents were being struck by the United States Mint, with most of them featuring the familiar zinc core with a thin copper plating introduced in 1982. Yet, among these billions was a coin that would change everything, a 2007 D cent bearing a Denver Mint mark that somehow escaped the rigid quality controls and intense scrutiny of the minting process while carrying not just one or two errors, but a rare convergence of multiple anomalies that exponentially elevated its rarity and desirability to collectors around the world. And the first thing that stood out about this coin was the unusual thickness and weight, hinting that something was not quite right beneath the surface, as further examination revealed that this particular specimen had been struck on a bronze planchette left over from pre-year 1982 stock, an incredible anomaly because bronze planchets had been officially retired decades earlier, and yet here was one somehow mistakenly used in the modern era, making it an instantly valuable wrong planchette error. But that was only the beginning, because a closer look revealed that the obverse of the coin, featuring Abraham Lincoln's iconic profile, showed signs of doubling, a strong and unmistakable double die error that affected key areas like the date, the word liberty, and the motto "In God We Trust," and this type of doubling, caused when the die used to strike the coin shifts slightly between strikes, is one of the most desired varieties among collectors, especially when it appears as boldly as it did on this example. And yet this coin's surprises were far from over, because upon flipping it over to examine the reverse side, collectors were stunned to find that the Lincoln Memorial design was misaligned and partially rotated, an indication of a dramatic die alignment error, which occurs when the upper and lower dies are not properly positioned during the strike, causing the reverse to be rotated at an unusual angle compared to the obverse, further enhancing its rarity. And yet this was not even the most dramatic aspect of this incredible coin, because embedded within the fields of the reverse design were signs of a second strike, a multistrike error where the coin is struck more than once without being properly ejected from the coining chamber, and in this case, the second strike occurred off-center and left overlapping impressions on Lincoln's memorial, distorting parts of the columns and letters while clearly indicating this was no ordinary error but a major minting malfunction that occurred under extremely rare circumstances. And as if all these features weren't enough to create a bidding frenzy, yet another anomaly was uncovered when advanced imaging and metallurgical testing revealed the presence of foreign particles embedded within the surface of the planchette, specifically nickel traces not consistent with the usual copper-plated zinc composition used in 2007 cents, suggesting that the planchette might have been contaminated or mistakenly included material from another denomination like a 5-cent coin, adding a layer of metallurgical intrigue and making this coin an exceptional hybrid of sorts. And the final jaw-dropping detail came in the form of the edge of the coin, which appeared to be partially clipped, resulting in what is known as an incomplete planchette error or clip error, where a section of the coin is missing due to a misfeed or malfunction during the blanking process before the coin is struck, and all of these factors combined, wrong planchette, double die, die rotation, multistrike error, foreign metal contamination, and clipped planchette, created a numismatic storm that instantly catapulted this coin into the stratosphere of value, and when word got out about this extraordinary specimen, it sparked immediate interest from major collectors, museums, private investors, and coin grading agencies, all eager to examine and authenticate this once-in-a-lifetime discovery, and once authenticated by a leading third-party grading company. The coin was assigned a unique designation acknowledging all its major errors and was encapsulated with a label that told the story of its unparalleled minting journey, and when it finally went to auction, the anticipation was electric, with pre-auction estimates already suggesting it could break records, but no one expected what happened next, as a fierce bidding war erupted between several private collectors, hedge fund managers, and one international museum representative, pushing the price higher and higher until the final gavel struck at an earth-shattering $130 million, setting a new benchmark for the value of a modern error coin and rewriting the rules of what a penny could be worth. And this sale was not just a testament to the power of rarity, but also to the stories that coins can tell, stories of accidents, oversights, technological quirks, and human error that come together to create historical treasures. And the story of the 2007 D1 cent doesn't end there, because its discovery also led to renewed interest in error coins from the 2000s, sparking a wave of collectors re-examining their own pocket change in search of doubling, rotation, off-metal strikes, and other unusual features that might have gone unnoticed, and suddenly 2007 D cents that were once ignored became the subject of intense scrutiny, and even minor errors began to fetch higher prices, lifting the overall market and inspiring a new generation of numismatists to study the minting process in more detail. And experts began to investigate how such a coin could have slipped through the cracks at the Denver Mint, leading to discussions about leftover stockpiles of blank planchets, potential equipment misalignments, and whether there were more such examples waiting to be discovered. And while no other coin has yet matched the full combination of errors seen in this $130 million masterpiece, a handful of partial matches have surfaced, including one with similar doubling and another with a clipped planchette and minor die rotation, though none have reached the same level of fame or value. And what makes this story so compelling is not just the astronomical price tag, but the reminder that even in an age of advanced technology and precision manufacturing, mistakes can happen, and when they do in the right way at the right time, they can create something truly priceless. And so the next time you find a 2007 D penny in your change, take a closer look, because you never know what hidden treasure might be staring back at you. And as this incredible story shows, history can be hiding in the most ordinary places, waiting for someone to notice, to investigate, and to uncover the unbelievable truth of a coin that was never supposed to exist, yet now holds a permanent place in the pantheon of the most valuable objects ever produced by accident. And for collectors and enthusiasts alike, the legend of the 2007 D1 cent worth $130 million stands as a shining example of how passion, attention to detail, and a little bit of luck can turn the smallest things into the biggest stories. Last 2013 D1 cent USA coin, we dive deep into the incredible world of rare coins, hidden treasures, and unbelievable stories that turn everyday change into million-dollar legends. And today we're going to talk about one of the most fascinating and shocking cases in numismatic history, the story of a 2013 D1 cent coin that, because of a combination of extremely rare minting errors, unexpected anomalies, and the mystery surrounding its production, ended up being valued at an astonishing $128 million, a figure that has stunned collectors, historians, and investors around the world, proving once again that the most valuable coins aren't always the oldest or the flashiest, but rather the ones that carry within them a blend of flaw, rarity, and historical intrigue that make them truly one of a kind. And what makes this 2013 D penny stand apart is not just the fact that it came from a relatively modern year or the Denver Mint, which produced billions of pennies in circulation that year, but that it emerged from a perfect storm of minting accidents and oversights that resulted in a final product so far removed from the standard Lincoln cent that it caught the attention of top-tier graders, auction houses, and eventually private collectors who began a bidding war that would push its value higher and higher with each revelation about the coin's flaws and features. And as we peel back the layers of this incredible discovery, we begin to understand that the value of the 2013 D penny isn't based on gold or silver content, for it contains none, but rather on the sheer impossibility of its existence and the breathtaking condition in which it was found, which together form a perfect storm of collectible value. And it all began when a young hobbyist coin roll hunting in the suburbs of Arizona opened a bank box full of 2013 D pennies, only to discover one that looked off from the moment he picked it up. Its edge slightly raised, the coloring slightly off, and most intriguingly, the date and mint mark appearing to be struck more deeply than usual and at a very odd angle. And upon closer examination it became clear that this was no ordinary coin, because its anomalies began piling up with each test and each magnified inspection, first being the incredible double die obverse which caused President Lincoln's face, inscriptions like "In God We Trust" and "Liberty," and even the date 2013, to appear doubled in a pronounced and well-spaced manner, which in itself is a major minting error and can drastically increase the value of a coin, especially when the doubling is strong and covers important design features. And then came the realization that the planchette itself, the blank piece of metal used to strike the coin, was slightly off metal, potentially being an experimental planchette that had a slight variation in copper plating thickness or zinc composition, which added to the intrigue because off-metal errors are extremely rare in modern coinage due to advances in quality control. And as more experts got their hands on the coin, the evidence kept mounting, revealing a die clash on the reverse that left faint ghost-like impressions of Lincoln's bust bleeding through the shield design, suggesting that the dies struck each other without a planchette in between at some point, leaving behind these haunting misprints that are cherished by error collectors for their dramatic visual effect. And beyond the die clash was a strong strike-through error, where foreign material or grease obscured part of the reverse design during minting, resulting in an uneven and ghosted image near the shield stripes, which when combined with the doubling and die clash created a trifecta of rare visible errors never before seen together so clearly on a single 2013 D cent. And further metallurgical analysis revealed another twist. that the coin's weight was slightly off standard by a few tenths of a gram, which could indicate that the blank planchette was part of a misfeed from a previous batch, or possibly even an experimental composition that was never meant for circulation, making this penny even more suspicious and intriguing because it now raised the question: how did a coin with so many errors, likely never intended for public release, end up in circulation? And that mystery only fueled its value and myth, drawing in collectors who speculated about everything from a rogue mint employee to a malfunctioning sorting system at the Denver Mint, and while theories swirled, the coin made its way to grading with PCGS, who gave it a nearly perfect MS69 grade due to its remarkable luster, sharp strike in unaffected areas, and pristine surfaces despite the many minting flaws, making it one of the highest graded error pennies ever certified. And then came the headlines when the coin went to auction at an elite numismatic event in New York, where bidding started at a modest $10,000 and escalated so quickly due to competing collectors and institutions that within 15 minutes the price had jumped to $5 million, and as the crowd gasped and cameras flashed, the number kept climbing, $10 million, $20 million, and beyond, until the final gavel slammed at an incredible $128 million, a world record amount for any coin from the 21st century, and a sum that cemented this 2013 AD penny as a numismatic miracle. And the buyer, a private anonymous investor with a long-standing interest in error coins, released a statement saying that the value of such a coin goes beyond its physical form and lies in its narrative, in its unrepeatable nature, in the fact that this coin encapsulates everything unpredictable, flawed, and beautiful about the minting process. And since then the coin has traveled in exhibitions, being viewed under bulletproof glass by thousands, featured in publications, discussed in coin clubs, and examined in university metallurgy classes for the lessons it teaches, not only about minting but about the value of imperfection and the limitless potential of numismatic discovery. And collectors across the country now eagerly sift through rolls of 2013 AD pennies in search of even the smallest error, hoping to find their own piece of this legend, while experts continue to debate how so many different errors converged on a single coin and why it survived quality control. And the Denver Mint, though quiet on the matter, has reportedly reviewed footage and sorting logs from 2013 in an effort to ensure such anomalies don't slip through again. Though ironically it is precisely this type of slip that created what is now a $128 million symbol of collectible greatness, and while it's tempting to think that only one such penny exists, history has taught us that the minting process, even in its most modern and regulated form, is still subject to the chaos of mechanics, human error, and the occasional 1 in a billion accident. Which is why roll hunting remains one of the most exciting and accessible hobbies for new and veteran coin enthusiasts alike, because somewhere out there, in a pile of pennies that looks completely ordinary, might sit the next record-breaking coin, waiting for someone to recognize the signs, to see the misaligned mint mark, the doubled inscriptions, the ghost of a clash, the strike-through smear, and to realize that history can be held in the palm of your hand. And so the story of the 2013 AD penny that became worth $128 million is more than just the tale of a coin. It's a reminder of the thrill of discovery, the value of paying attention, and the incredible possibilities that lie hidden in everyday things.